Hi, I'm Aaron Marcus, and welcome to another incredible video here. I am really excited about sharing information about social media with our special guest. And let me tell you a little bit about her before I bring her in. Heidi Dean is the industry's top social media expert for actors and the creator of Marketing for Actors and the 21-Day Social Rockstar Challenge. She's a graduate of NYU's Tisch School of the Arts and was a working professional SAG and AEA actor for over 20 years. Combining her 20 years of experience with cutting-edge social media strategy, she helps you leverage the power of social media to open more doors for your acting career. Her clients include Emmy Award winners, Broadway stars, recording artists, directors, producers, filmmakers, models, and actors just like you. Heidi turns social media rookies into rock stars. And Heidi, I want to welcome you to this video. Thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me.
This is really cool because this is an area that a lot of people use, but really don't know how to use it properly. It's kind of like people driving a Ferrari and just driving it in a parking lot. So the very first thing I wanted to ask you about is just to go over the different types of social media platforms that you recommend actors and models use, and why should they use them?
Well, choosing a platform, it really starts with what your goals are. You know, we've got Snapchat, we've got Facebook, we've got Twitter, we've got Musical.ly, we've got things popping up every single day. But when I work with clients and in my classes, we always start with what are your goals for your acting career or your modeling career? And then we choose platforms from there. So,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just going to ask. So yeah, if you could just kind of walk us through which ones do what for what people.
Yes. So, well, I'll start with the idea of goals, and then we'll figure out platforms from there. So, for everyone listening, if your number one goal is to stay top of mind with the people you already know in the business, so develop those existing relationships, that's one goal. If your number one goal is to create relationships with the people you want to know, so build new relationships, that could be another main goal for you. Or maybe your main goal is to build a following or an audience, which is totally cool if that is your main goal. And number four, there's a lot of actors, models, and people in the business that are creating content. So are you on social media to spread the word about that content? So we start with those four goals and we look at what platforms are going to help you get there. A lot of my clients say, Heidi, all of these are my main goals. Right. And if that's the case, then really Twitter and Instagram will help you reach all of those goals, because they will obviously help you stay in touch with the people you already know, but they actually give you direct access to the people you want to know, as long as they have a public account. And that's one reason social media is so fantastic, because you do have that direct access with these platforms, these interest-based platforms like Pinterest, like Twitter and Instagram. And obviously, those are the two platforms that are easiest to grow your following, especially if you have help, and they can really easily spread the word about your content. So
I'm sorry, just to kind of jump in there for a second. I mean, everybody knows about Twitter. For Instagram, how would you use that in a different way than Twitter, or is it just a whole different animal, or do you use it in some similar ways?
Well, all of social media is a conversation. So, on Twitter, you're going to be using text to interact with your audience. You're also going to be using pictures and videos. Instagram, you're limited to obviously photos and videos. So the medium's a little bit different, but it's still a conversation. So, and that's what I think people forget when they hop over to Instagram. They start taking pictures of everything around them and their food and the sunset, forgetting that they need to have a conversation with their fan base. They need to let us know a little bit more about them, about themselves, and also they need to bring their fans in. And so the difference on Instagram is you're doing it through pictures.
Now, so are you able, excuse me for interrupting again, but are you able to add any text at all with your pictures in Instagram?
Oh, yes. So every post does have a caption beneath. So and the 3 lines will be visible, so people will see that. And you can superimpose text onto your pictures as well if you're using third-party apps. So you can bring words into the picture and into that story, but you're mainly telling stories with photos and videos.
And would it be wrong or not smart business to kind of maybe plug a website or plug something underneath a photo in Instagram? Or do you think it's better really just to kind of put yourself out there and show a picture, have some kind of content underneath it that really talks more about the picture instead of using it as a pretty blatant selling tool?
Well, you can use it for both. I just always say be careful with social media. You want to make sure that you're giving more than you're asking. And so if you're constantly going on and you're promoting, your pictures say, check out my IMDb page, or your caption always says, go to my website and my reel, people are going to tune out. You need to be giving, and then asking for people to do something. And things like go to my website or anything promotional would be an ask. So it's okay to occasionally promote, but you need to make sure you're also showing good content and sharing stuff with your audience, and not just always asking for something.
Sure. So that's Twitter and Instagram. What are some of the other platforms that you talk about?
Well, obviously, if you're a content creator, that adds a whole nother dimension to everything. So you're going to need a place to house that content. So obviously, YouTube would be the most natural place because there's a built-in audience. You don't have to work on building that audience and getting them there. So for a lot of actors that I work with, they go Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. There is Facebook, of course. Facebook, I do think for a lot of people, it's the best. The best use of Facebook is to keep in touch and stay top of mind with the people you already know. You, of course, can have a Facebook page, but depending on where you are in your acting career, it may just become another page that you have to run. So, and Facebook does have a new feature, well, new in the last year, where you can actually allow followers on your personal profile. So for a lot of actors, models just starting out, if you have Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, you have you're on Snapchat, adding a Facebook page might be a little too much for you right now. And you can actually just go into your settings and have people follow you on your personal profile. And you can choose what posts are public and private, so you can still have a private and a personal life in that profile. It sounds kind of complicated, but I actually, if you Google Facebook page versus profile and then marketing for actors, the number 4, I have an article with screenshots of how to set this up for your listeners. So
cool. And I was just wondering, is LinkedIn a platform that you like using, or is that not something that you use very much?
Well, I group the social media platforms into 2 categories. So you've got the Facebooks, the LinkedIns that are based on the graph search. So they are based on people you already know. It's okay to go on Facebook or LinkedIn and friend someone or connect with someone that you already know. But unless you're in groups and, in that kind of realm on Facebook or LinkedIn, it's not always okay to go and send people private messages who you don't know, because the platforms are built on who you know. Then you've got the interest-based platforms, which are like Twitter and Instagram, Pinterest. They revolve around common interest, shared interests, shared passions. You also, do follow people you know, but that's more interest-based. Those platforms are better to connect with people you don't know. So LinkedIn does have its perks. If you've been in the business a while and you've built up a bunch of connections, you might connect with them on LinkedIn. I find it's not the best platform, but any platform is going to be able to help an actor, especially when you're trying to find those mutual connection points. And sorry, you're going to say something.
Yeah. I was just going to say, because I know, like on Facebook, if you try to friend someone that you don't know, sometimes you'll get a message saying, do you really know this person? Mm-hmm. So I guess they are, pretty aware of people who are just trying to, find people they have no connection with, so that, it's exactly with what you were saying.
Yeah, and actually on LinkedIn, if you send too many connection requests for people you don't know, your account can actually get shut down. So you have to be careful careful about that. But where I see people really utilizing LinkedIn and Facebook is, next time you're looking for an agent, instead of just sending out a bunch of, mass mailings that might not go anywhere, go on Facebook, go on LinkedIn, and see if you have any mutual friends with you and the person you want to know. And the graph search social media sites are really great for finding these connecting points between you and the people you want to know. Then you can reach out to those people in between and see how well they know them. How well do they know that agent? Or you may find out, like, this casting director that loves you is really good friends with that agent. Can they refer you? So, using social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, those sites to get referrals can actually be really great for your career.
So just so I fully understand this. So if you know somebody and they're friends of yours on Facebook, and you think they might know a casting director that you want to get in touch with.
Yeah.
The plan is to contact your friend on Facebook and then just literally send them a note saying, hey, I see that you are friends with, this casting director. Can you connect me? Or how specifically is that done?
Well, it depends on your relationship with the person, because we all have a million friends on Facebook, and one of them I may know from 10 years ago, one of them may be my best friend. So obviously you're not going to want to contact someone you haven't talked to for 10 years and say, hey, can you refer me? You need to build a relationship. You need to rekindle that relationship, reconnect. So it really depends, the person. But if it is somebody, hey, maybe you worked with them last year on set, send them a message, see if you know them on another platform. Maybe you have their phone number because you worked with them, and just reach out to them. I think I've had a lot of clients find a lot of success with that, because they could just blindly send a cover letter, even an awesome cover letter, but actually having that person referring them is going to be what gets them in the door.
Oh, okay. So you would have your friend, whatever that friend means, actually send a note to the casting director saying, hey, by the way, a friend of mine is going to be getting in touch with you.
Possibly. It really depends on the relationship. If you're really good friends with them, they'll probably do something like that. Or you can just say, do you mind if I use your name as a referral? So you have a couple choices there.
But it's really interesting. Something you brought up, and I think this is kind of speaks to like a bigger issue with using social media. Not so much issue, but a strategy is, it seems like you kind of have to cultivate things. It's almost like you have to plant the seeds, you have to water it, you have, instead of just coming in and thinking, hey, I'm going to pick some fruit here. Sometimes it takes a little while to, like you were saying, maybe reach out to someone you hadn't spoken to in many years, not mentioning anything about, hey, by the way, I know you're connected with this casting director who I want to get in touch with. Hey, how you doing? I haven't spoken with you for a long time. What have you been up to? And then you start developing a relationship. And then, and not to say that you don't want to have a relationship. It's not like you're just, manipulating somebody, but, you're developing this relationship. And then at one point, you might say, hey, by the way, I know that you're friends with this person. Is there a way you can help connect me? As opposed to just coming in blatantly, just saying, hi, I know I haven't spoken with you in 30 years. Could you connect me with this person?
Exactly. Always build a relationship. The biggest mistake I see actors make on social media is they hop on Twitter, they just tweet at somebody. They say, can you look at my reel, look at my website? And they're essentially saying, hi, nice to meet you. Can you do me a favor? And that's what, how they treat everything. So you always need to build a relationship, whether you're reconnecting with someone or it's a brand new relationship. So never just approach someone and ask for something first.
Yeah. So it sounds like, and just kind of going with that, maybe if there is, and let's just go with an agent on Twitter that you really want to connect with. So would you recommend the very first thing they do is begin to follow that agent?
Yeah, you could follow. There's a lot of different social signals, as they're called, that you can send their way. You can follow, like their posts, find the connection points. Do you have any shared interests outside of acting? you know, every actor is out there is trying to write these people to try to get an audition. Well, you know, their bio is going to tell you a lot about them. In my classes, I call it gathering social intelligence. And it really is. You're like a digital detective. Facebook leaves so many clues. You can just go on Facebook, look someone up. You can find out their music interests. You can find out what they're passionate about, even if they're even on their profile, depending on their settings. Most people you can find out things like that. You might find out that that casting director that you've gone in for many times that you want to get seen for something else. Maybe you're both passionate about animal rights. Well, guess what? Now you can go on their page and you can have conversations with them when they post about, you know, their passion for animals. And so find connection points. Just start having conversations with these people you want to know, and not just because you want to get in the room, but because you want to treat them like a human and you want to develop a relationship. And that's where you're gonna, you're gonna get traction and get seen.
You know, and it almost seems like it's in some ways it makes so much sense. But I'm assuming a lot of people don't do it because they feel like, oh, well, I have this person's ear. I want to sell them something. I'm just going to go in there and, just try to pitch something right away. But I guess it's like also like with any kind of relationship, if you take somebody out on their first date and you're saying, hey, well, I think we should move in together or we should be getting married here. Well, you might want to date for a little while first before before bringing that up, because people are going to either just completely turn you off or think, I don't know you, and you're asking me to do all these things. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But if you develop a relationship, then then maybe they would have that interest. So that just makes so much sense. But I'm assuming a lot of people just don't have that kind of information and just try to power their way through. But something else also I was just going to ask, it's like with today's time, you have access to so many more people than you could have easily gotten, many, many years ago, which would have taken going through phone books or knocking on doors and making phone calls and all that kind of stuff. So the problem is, but so many people are doing this. So what can you do to really try to stand out in the crowd? I mean, besides trying to make a connection, but are there things that you can do that make people want to be connected with you?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest one of the biggest mistakes I see is so many people just try to copy what other people are doing on social media, and they're, instead of just being true to themselves. And I think the actors that stand out on social media, they know who they are. And it also goes right to the audition room too. The actors that get cast all the time, they know who they are. They know what they're selling. One of my favorite quotes is, "Find out who you are and do it on purpose," said by Miss Dolly Parton, who knows who she is. So, and that's the definition of actor branding, whether you are online or you're offline. So find out who you are and do it on purpose. So pinpoint what you do better or different than anybody else. And this includes your strengths, your weaknesses, your interests, your hobbies, your values, and do these things on purpose everywhere, on your website, in auditions, in interviews, on your social media. And people are going to see who you are, and you're not going to look like anybody else, and you're going to stand out, because actor snowflakes, no two are alike, right? So, but too many actors are trying to be like their favorite actor or the actor they saw doing really cool things on social media. No, just figure out what makes you you and bring those qualities out in your post and talk about those things. And then you'll stand out. So visually, that's how you're going to stand out.
So to try to make that a little bit more, I mean, I completely get that, but to try to make it a little bit more concrete, maybe if I just use myself as an example. Mm-hmm. So not to say that I can't do other things, but typically I find that, and if this is what you're referring to as far as knowing yourself, I'm going to get cast as the guy you believe. I'm the guy you like. I'm the guy you're going to share personal information with. I'm the psychotherapist. I'm the priest. I'm the insurance salesman. I'm the kind doctor. Are those the kinds of things that you are talking about as far as knowing yourself? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, yes and no, because what you're talking about falls more into it's more of your type than the idea of your brand, which is everything that you stand for, and that you are. Your type,
which would be what? I'm still not 100% sure what that means then.
Because everything you just spelled out for me, except the first couple things, were really about how we could cast Aaron, which is important. That needs to be part of your brand, because you don't want that You don't want to send mixed messages out there. But what do you do in your free time? You know, what do you do in your spare time? What are you passionate about outside of acting? All of this needs to be in your social media. You look at everybody that is a social rock star out there.
I see. Okay.
It's not just about your actor's life. It is about your whole life. You know, I tell people, give your, whether you're a musician, an actor, or, you know, anything in the business, give your fans a backstage pass, but not just a backstage pass backstage. Give them a backstage pass into your life and to who you are. Because this is what people want to know about. They don't want to just, yeah, they want to know about your next booking, but they want to know how they're just like you. That's what social media is about. You know, so knowing how you were cast is great, but we want to know more about who Aaron is, you know.
Got it. Okay. So what you're saying is, look, I am in love with animals. I mean, I love dogs, love animals. They love me. I'm really good with them. We connect in great ways. So what you're suggesting is that maybe for some of my posts, I should be doing things that are not industry related in any way. And maybe I'll, you know, talk about, you know, a dog that got saved, you know, some experiences. My son just adopted a dog from a shelter. And you're talking about adding in other aspects of one's life that has nothing to do with work.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yep. It's really important, because it's all, you know, it's everything that makes you you. You know, it's what's going to get you cast over someone else is your unique perspective, your life experiences, you know, that you're going to bring to the material and to the role. All of that is all this stuff with your dog, your family, your values, you know, that should be reflected in your social media. Now, not everything that makes you should be in your social media. That's kind of step 2 I do with my clients, is that we define something I call your nanyas, which is a made-up word. And it's the same thing, you know, big celebrities do. If you think about a celebrity that you like, that you just saw do an interview, they've already told that interviewer what topics are off limit, so they don't have to turn around and say nanya business. Those are your nanyas. So you clearly need to set your social limits so that you know what things you will talk about, what things you won't post about. So your nanyas, I always use this example, you know, maybe posting about your kids is okay, but maybe not posting pictures. Maybe posting pictures is a nanya. Or I know Kerry Washington, for her husband and her kids, nanyas. She doesn't post about them. Even if people talk about them, she doesn't engage in conversation. And she'll post about just about everything else. But maybe, you know, who you vote for, who you love, or where you worship. These might be nanyas for you. You know, maybe one or the other. So you need to kind of set these social limits ahead of time so that you know what's part of your personal brand and what's, you know, what's not part of it. So you don't just put everything out there, you know?
Yeah,
So.
it almost seems like unless you are kind of known as being a very controversial figure, it does seem like if you know, you might be putting something out there that you think might be kind of innocent and it's just something honest about you, it could be a landmine. And I tell you, as incredible as social media is, it can also be a nightmare if all of a sudden you're just getting slammed, and I assume it could, you know, really do some damage to your career if you don't really know what you're doing.
Oh, exactly. And that's why getting educated and knowing how to use it and then setting limits could really help you with this. And also, you know, I mentioned politics. You do have to be careful about that. I put my last Social Rockstar Challenge together right around the election time. And so I was, you know, looking up lots of casting directors, lots of industry people. And I think a lot of actors think, you know, everybody in the business is on one side. They're not. You know, I was looking at a lot of posts. They're, you know, Democrats, Republicans, they're all over the map. So don't think that, you know, so be careful what you post. I always say, you know, when you're going to post about politics, religion, or you're going to preach about anything you really love that's controversial, always talk for something rather than against it. And that's where people get in trouble on social media. They go and they talk against the thing they don't like, instead of just praising the thing that they really do like. So they're not, you know, they're not starting from the negative. They're starting from the positive.
Yeah, and, you know, I guess one thing to keep in mind is that, you know, these people, thousands of people that we're talking to, you know, they're not necessarily, you know, maybe there are a couple, but they're not personal, intimate friends. You know, these are connections. and you don't necessarily have that kind of personal, intimate relationship with these people. And so, yeah, you do have to be really careful about what you're saying. At least if if you're concerned about your career in any way. So I'm curious. So like with Facebook, I know you were talking about you can have a page and turn, it makes certain things private. Would it be easier for people just to have two different Facebook pages? Maybe one that's just strictly personal, one that is strictly business. But I guess even with the personal one, once again, you've got to be really careful with what you're posting there because you don't know who's going to end up there. So what are your thoughts about having a couple different Facebook pages?
Well, just know that nothing's private on social media. You can make your account private, but people can screenshot people, as long as you're letting people in, nothing's private. So, if you're trying to have a double life and you're posting controversial stuff on your private page, someone's going to find out about it. And your people you're friending, if you're in the business, these are people you're working with. So you're going to hurt yourself in some way. Whether or not you're going to have a profile and a page is really up to the actor, because it can create a lot of extra work. And anyone listening, if you know anything about the Facebook algorithm, having a page right now, especially starting a page right now, it's really hard to get views if you're not paying for ads. So so just don't think that starting a Facebook page, you're going to get discovered just by posting. It's sometimes you do have to boost posts to get a little traction and have people see your posts. So it can be a lot of work and it can be frustrating, just to be really honest. Now, if you're creating content or if you're a musician, having a Facebook page is essential, because you're probably going to have to use the ads platform. And to use the ads platform, you have to have a Facebook page, not just a profile. So, and once you have a Facebook page, you have to have a profile. So then you've got two. So, but it's really, it's something I do, one client at a time, really, to see if they need a page right now, and if they can add a page to their social media load. I mean, the other thing you need to think about is if you are on a show right now, or, if you're doing anything, if you're in a Broadway show, national tour, if you're on a TV show, or if you even have certain campaigns, if you're modeling, like, who is your audience? So, and where do they play? So you could actually, one of your main platforms could be Snapchat, if your audience of that TV show or show is a young audience. And you could be posting, behind the scenes stuff on your Snapchat to really nurture and grow that audience. And that could be a fantastic option. But if you're on a show where it's an older audience, then using Snapchat is going to be a waste of time. So you can see how it really is like individual to what your goals are, but also to what's going on in your life and what shows you're doing and what projects you're working on.
And I know something that you have talked about, and I think it would be important to just mention it here too, is that you've got to be really careful if you are on a show, whether you are a regular or a day player or a guest star. You've got to be really careful with what you shoot backstage or on the set and post, because that's not always looked upon too favorably by production. So maybe if you could just talk about that for a minute, just so people don't, immediately go out and start, shooting things behind the scenes.
Oh, definitely. I just, first of all, always check your contract. If there's anything in your contract about it, which can happen as early as the audition. You may have signed an NDA at the audition. You're not posting about anything for a while, and not even about I went to the audition today.
Oh, excuse me, just to interrupt for 1 second. You mentioned NDA, non-disclosure agreement. Would you just explain exactly what that is so everybody gets that?
Oh, sure. I mean, it happens a lot now. You go in for Iron Man, or you go in for a commercial for a big brand, and they make you sign a non-disclosure agreement, meaning you can't say anything about the material. Normally a lot of times you get that script when you get there and they're taking it right back. You can't say anything about the material. You can't say anything about any of the project. You can't say that you auditioned for it. Or
yeah, I was just going to say that I've had to do that as well, where I can't even say that I auditioned for a project.
Yeah. So yes, your contract actually may start before you even book the job, or if you even book the job. But now, and more nowadays, you see the posting requirements and contracts. So you always want to check, like, when am I allowed to post? Is it in my contract? And you can always call, call production, find out if it's okay that you post something. But yes, be careful about your on-set photos. What I always tell people to do is take lots of photos when you're on set, take videos, but it doesn't mean you're going to show them right away. Gather these are PR tools for you, so you can build buzz about your show, and there will be some point once it's public that you're in the show or you're in the film, and once they're putting press out there, you'll know, because you can Google this. You can also ask the PR team when it's okay to start showing this. If it's on IMDb, by then, if they're saying it's IMDb with your character name, it's probably pretty safe to share that you're playing.
I was just going to say, there's an agent that I work with. He told me a story of one of his clients, one of his actors, who booked a show and started posting all this information. I hadn't started shooting anything, but just started posting all this information, and they dropped her.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you got to be really careful with that.
Yeah, because I mean, your costume could give something away. What's behind you could give something away. You might have to wait till that night if you're on TV to actually start showing pictures. But hey, if you're going to live tweet during the show, that's a great time to show some behind the scenes photos. So you do want to save these, because you can use them when it airs. You can use them for Throwback Thursdays on social media. They're all good things for your own personal PR kit. But you always be better to be safe than sorry. Better to be safe than sorry. Well, my dad taught me every day growing up. So with posting especially, always be safe.
So I'm curious, as far as, I know I've heard you talk about this as well, just the way that you name things seems like there's a whole art to that, and it can make the difference between things being successful and not successful. Would you just talk about that a little bit? Like, your Twitter name or your Facebook page name and things like that.
Oh, yes. Well, that's really important. If you can, you want to try to find a consistent username, because as you're adding more platforms, because next year there's going to be another Snapchat or Instagram coming out, you don't want to have to tell somebody, hey, I'm, Johnny Actor 1 on Twitter, and I'm John Actor 5 on Facebook. And a lot of actors, this is what they've done. It's confusing, and it's going to keep you from growing your following. So if you can find a consistent username, it will help people recognize who you are, and it will help grow your following.
And I assume too, you want to try to use your name, if at all possible, instead of Love Motorcycles, or something like that.
Cutie Pie 5. I see a lot of those. So maybe not. Yeah, get as close to your name as possible. Obviously, on platforms like Twitter, that have been around for a while, even Instagram now, it might be difficult to get your name, but you might be able to add a middle initial. You might be able to add, actor or actress. The trick with this is always try to put your name at the beginning of the handle. That's what it's called, the beginning of the name, not the end, because when people are searching, you want your name to come up. So if you have to be, if I had to be the Heidi Dean, because someone has Heidi Dean on Twitter, that's not as good as Heidi Dean social or something, because people would be typing in Heidi Dean, and you want that to come up first, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and there's a great tool called Name Checker, NameCheckr. There's no E at the end of Name Checker. Namechecker.com, and you can go on there and you can type in your name or variations of your name, and they'll tell you if they're available across networks. So now you don't have to go on YouTube. You don't have to go everywhere to see if it's available. Name Checker is going to pull up every major platform, and I'm talking social media to Skype to Vimeo to everything. Evernote.
Wow, that's incredible.
They do it on a lot of different things that aren't even really social media, and they'll tell you where it's available. So it could save you a lot of time by using a tool like that. And then you can try to get it as consistent of username as possible.
Yeah, and I found that out because there are a bunch of Aaron Marcuses out there. So I had to add R for my middle name for a lot of the social media names, just because Aaron Marcus was already taken. And so I figured that would be the easiest way to solve that one.
And the same thing with your name, your profile photo. It's the same thing. You want to be consistent. Just to take that a step further, I think a lot of people, actors and models, they think, oh, I want to show this look here and this look here and this look here, forgetting that it takes like 12 times online for somebody to recognize somebody. And so it's actually I won't go into the extended story, but there was this actor. I did a Facebook Live a couple months back, and he asked me this question, I like using this photo here. Is that okay? Or should I use the same photo? And ironically, I didn't realize, I looked him up on Facebook. I didn't realize this is the same guy that I've had numerous conversations on Twitter about. We are born 2 days apart. We were born 2 days apart. He saw it in my, in one of my classes where you could actually see my birthday and the year I was born. So he had reached out about that. We've talked over and over again. I had no idea he's the same guy on Facebook, and I had no idea this guy was the same one I've talked to on Instagram. It was like he was 3 different guys in my head, and I'm really good visually, and I'm on social media all the time. So if you're going to use social media for your career to be reaching out and building relationships, think about the casting director or director who, may be busy doing other things as they're on social media and may not be as good with faces, as I am, and they're not going to know who you are. So, and they may not even had as in-depth conversation as I did with this guy, so it's, keep your usernames consistent, keep your profile photo consistent, make it easy for people to find you and to know who you are, Well,
that's a great point. So here's something that people really don't know anything about, and I want to ask you because you're the expert. Hashtags. Oh man, hashtags. It's like, when do you use them? Can you use them too much? Can you overdo them? What are your thoughts about hashtags?
I have about 1,000 thoughts on hashtags. One of my longest blogs is on hashtags, and I have one coming up in a couple weeks that's called "When Good Hashtags Go Bad." So,
That's funny.
yes, you could actually do harm with hashtags. But yes, you can definitely use too many hashtags. It's really platform dependent. So Twitter, the safe zone really is 2 to 3. Actually, studies have shown anything over 3, it really looks like spam, and you actually get lower engagement. So try to not do any more than 3 on Twitter. And Instagram, you're going to be able to get away with a lot more. You can use technically you can put up to 30, but I find for me, I put them in the first comment, and 10 to 15 are my sweet spot for my post on Instagram. But that's not in the initial caption.
You have 10 to 15 hashtags connected with a photo in Instagram.
Yes, but I don't put them in the caption. I put maybe 1 or 2 in the caption, and then I go in right after I post and I put them in the first comment. And so then my picture will rank for them, but they get hidden in all my comments. And so you don't see them all. But then when people are looking up all those conversations, they see them. And I've found these ahead of time. I have them for my interests. I have them for my, for blogs. I have them for quotes. So I've done this research ahead of time. So I'm not sitting there like wondering what to type in. I have them. So
now, is it helpful at all using them on LinkedIn or Facebook?
Well, things have changed. If you would ask me like 2 years ago, I'd say no. But on Facebook, especially, Facebook was a little late to, join the hashtag bandwagon. But now when just go on Facebook, we're done here, and type in a hashtag in the search, and they actually do organize conversations for a hashtag. So you can use them on Facebook. I wouldn't overdo it. I would, stick to the Twitter rules, maybe even just use 1 or 2 on Facebook, but you can use them. So, and they will help you find conversations. They'll help people outside your group of friends find you, which is important. And there's a lot of hashtag, rules.
Well, like what are some of the basic, the basic rule? And I know you probably do an entire workshop, just on hashtags, but if there, just a couple things like for instance, so if I'm posting something about an agent, well, does just putting a hashtag in front of an agent, or would it be better to do hashtag talent agent?
You want to think about what conversations you want to be in. Who are you attracting? With you know, you're not really going to be attracting, depending on the post, you're probably not going to be attracting an agent from that post.
Correct. I'm not. No, I'm going after actors and models.
Like-minded.
Primarily.
So you're going to think, what hashtags would they use? You know, they would probably, agent actually means a lot of different things. So to say, the example I use a lot is acting coach. So I see a lot of actors like, I need a new hashtag acting, hashtag coach. Well, that's great. It will come up for acting, but coach could mean a million other things, most of which are going to have nothing to do with acting. And, you know, sports, everything. It can be all different coaches. So be careful what you're hashtagging, because that's a nice, clean example, but I've had some people put hashtags in their bios, not realizing, not ever clicking on them to see where it's going. And you could be in a conversation that you don't really want to be a part of. So,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Why don't you finish it? Because something just popped up.
Yeah, the quick fix there is, you know, if you're looking for a new acting coach, then you're looking for an acting coach, one word, and you can change the capitalization. So capital A, capital C on coach, and it will still come up for acting coach if anyone's using that hashtag. But, you know, rather than hashtag acting, hashtag coach, which isn't going to do anything.
So what would happen if you did hashtag acting and then you had the word coach afterwards, not connected, but no hashtag for coach? Would that bring anything up? Or
yeah, you probably still get, the search will still come up for acting coach, but you're also, anyone that's looking up the conversation for acting, it will come up there as well. So,
okay, so for that specific one, your suggestion is to make it one word and then put the hashtag in front of acting and just have acting coach as one word.
Yeah, you could do either. That's a solution. So instead of doing, you know, the two hashtags, which are inserting you into one conversation that doesn't make any sense, make it one word. Because if you do look up hashtag acting coach, you actually, if you look it up, a lot of acting coaches are using the hashtag. So you actually might find one, or one of them might find you because you're using the hashtag.
So it almost seems like, from what you're saying, and maybe this would be an interesting strategy for people, before you actually send out, you know, your tweet, to actually do a search using some sample hashtags combined with words and see what it pulls up.
Definitely. Yeah. See what conversations you're putting yourself in. And if you ever see a hashtag that you don't know what it is, you know, be careful, don't use it. There's something called TagDef. I think it's tagdef.com. So like tag definition. And you can find definitions for all sorts of social media acronyms and hashtags on that site. So if there's, you know, anything you're like, your friends are using and you're not sure what it is, you don't even have to ask. You can just go to TagDef and find out, you know, what that hashtag means. So
that's cool. So, and actually, I didn't even realize that it's okay to put hashtags in a bio.
Yes, you just don't want to overly hashtag in your bio, because your bio is searchable anyways. So I suggest, when you're putting a hashtag in your bio, like if it's a hashtag that you use all the time, or if it's specific to your content, or if it's something you've created with the character you're playing, use it there. But you don't necessarily have to hashtag, like I don't have to hashtag social media in my bio to have people following me every day that are in social media, you know, because they're finding me just because the word social media. So it's in your bio, it's not as important unless it's hard to explain. But if, you know, if there's certain causes you identify with that are acronyms, maybe use a hashtag. But I see people that hashtag every word in their bio. It's not necessary, because it's searchable. You know? The keywords are still there.
So you wouldn't necessarily do like hashtag actor or hashtag model in your bio.
No, because it's searchable. You're still going to come up if someone looks up actor. They're going to, you know, they're probably not going to look up hashtag actor if they're looking for somebody. They're going to just type in actor. And so the important thing is in your bio that you have keywords, not just hashtags.
Okay.
And on Instagram, definitely, because it's not clickable at all. So you can use keywords to have people key into who you are, but it's not going to help you. The only thing that comes up in search in Instagram is your name and username. So I see people putting hashtags all over their bio on Instagram, and it looks terrible. And unless it's your hashtags for like your web series, it's just kind of a waste of time. So.
Now, when you receive a tweet from someone, is it something that would you recommend that they either like it or you know, share it with other people? Is that something that is helpful to do?
It depends on the tweet, and it depends how big you're following. Well, if I retweeted every time someone wrote me, or if I even actually replied every time, my whole stream would just look like comments to other people. So it depends. It depends on the person. It depends, who's writing you. A lot of people send auto tweets, so obviously don't respond to those. There's a little like heart button, and that does wonders if if you're finding yourself replying and commenting to a lot of people. Sometimes you can just like it. You don't have to always share it.
And so to do either one of those, is there a like button right there? Is there a share button that you just click on when you receive it?
Oh, for tweets?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, on the bottom, you're going to have your reply, you're going to have your retweet, and you're going to have your like button. So, and in the top, you're going to find your, all your settings where you could do other things, but, share the tweet like on an email and all that stuff. So yeah, you've got 3 options on what you want to do.
And that would then go out to all of your followers.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think that if whoever's sending it to you and they are notified that you shared it or liked it, I would think maybe that's also an interesting way of trying to build up a relationship with that person, because they'll, I assume they'll take note and say, oh, hey, that's really nice. She shared this thing with other people, and maybe that could be another good way of making a connection.
Oh, definitely. It's what's called a ping in the social media world. It's just like when you get a little text on your phone, that little ping. That's what these little signals are. So, and in my classes, I talk about 15 different ways you can get on someone's radar, from the follow to putting someone's username in an Instagram story, which a lot of people aren't doing. They're going to get little pings that somebody mentioned them. And there's all different ways you can use social media to do this. So sometimes I say this when I speak and people say, that sounds like you're being a stalker. I'm like, well, no, if they have a public account, you're not being a stalker. You're actually having a conversation. And you're just being savvy, and you're finding things that you connect with them on. You don't want to just rate them randomly about things that you're not responding to, and just say good job and awesome. Like I see people doing that. That's not making a human connection, obviously.
Right. Now when you're sending out a tweet and you set up where it's going, it's at a specific person, is that a smart tool to use as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. You're actually reaching out to someone. You're definitely trying to have a conversation. Just, obviously, if you're doing it with someone you don't know, make sure it's because you're like praising something they did or congratulating them, that you're not just always doing an ask.
But how about, let's say, and maybe I should just use myself as an example here. So if I write an article, or I write a blog, or have a vlog, and I'm tweeting it, but I want certain people to be able to see it because I think it's something they would be interested in. I would assume that would be a good idea to send it directly to them as well.
Yes, yeah, you can, and you can do that in a couple different ways. I mean, you can put it in the tweet. Sometimes that does look confusing to people because then they think that person maybe wrote the article. When I do it, I put a picture, like I'll add a picture to the tweet, and then I'll possibly tag them in the picture. And I try not to do it with people that I don't know. I know you do it sometimes with me, but we know each other.
Yeah.
So don't go tagging people in a picture that you don't know. But if it's a colleague, if somebody somebody you worked with, they'll know why you tagged them in the picture. If you put up a post about your show and you tag one of your friends in the picture, they're gonna go, oh, they want me to share it. So that's another way. You don't just have to put their name in there in the tweet. You can actually tag them in the picture. You can also hit reply in the comments too afterwards too, and say, hey, you'd love for you to share it, or send them a direct message and see if they could share it.
Got it. Now, just by sending it to somebody specifically, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to any of their people. They would have to share it in order for it to spread.
Yes. Yeah. If you just put my name in the tweet, my followers won't necessarily see that unless they're looking up my name in the search. Then it will come up. So, and it's not always guaranteed. I don't always share everything that you send me, and it could just be that I'm busy. And,
Sure.
it could be that I selectively share I have a very specific amount of posts I do every day, and I try to spread it out for different people and try not to share too much of the same person, or
Sure.
unless it's my husband, of course, who is big on social media. So,
Yeah.
and you know,
Now, are there a certain amount of tweets that you would recommend somebody do on a daily basis in order to really, get their name out there?
well, it depends how big your following is. So if you have 100 followers and you're going to tweet 12 times a day, your followers may not be so happy about that. I have 22,000 followers, so I can tweet a lot, and people really aren't going to care as much that I'm tweeting a lot. A couple months ago, I was tweeting 20 times a day. So, and that's
Wait, you're talking about literally 20 times a day?
Mm-hmm. But you got to think about what my posts were. They were anything from articles to inspiration to retweeting is obviously posts. So yeah, it wasn't for a long time. It was just for a week because I was in a promotion period. So I needed to be giving to balance the ask that I was putting out there. And really the ask were like, watch a free class, but it still was an ask for a class. So I had to up my post number so that I could do those asks. For most actors, I mean, you have to have the content. So Twitter, obviously, Facebook and Instagram, you're going to want to do more like, 1 to 3 times a day, a little less on Instagram. Depends on the person too. But Twitter, you can get away with posting a lot. The big thing with Twitter is tweet often, but don't tweet in big bursts, because that's the number one reason people unfollow people is somebody, doesn't go on Twitter all week. They go once a week, and every time they sign on, they retweet everything that they missed all week. So they put out like 30 tweets, not realizing that they're flooding everyone's stream with just one thing after the next, after the next. So be careful with that. Just, try. It's better to hop on a little bit every day or every other day than to just flood people's stream all at once.
Sure.
Especially
Now,
on Instagram too. So.
Do you find, are there certain times of the day that you think is better to send information out?
It's also person dependent. That's a big myth out there. You see a lot of articles written for businesses that say, Monday between 1 and 2 and Wednesday between 5 and 6. As an artist, don't listen to those, because most of the people you're going to be interacting with, I mean, maybe the casting directors are there in a 9 to 5, but the artists are on different schedules. So don't pay attention to anything, any articles like that. Instead, what you need to do is find the best time to post for your followers. And there's lots of tools to do this. If you have a Facebook page, it's built in. You just go to your audience insights, and they're going to tell you the best time to post. Instagram, I know a lot of artists have—
Oh, wait. Just to back up for 1 second. So if you go into insights on Facebook—
on a Facebook page, not a profile. But
okay, Facebook page, and how exactly do you know when? Just because it will show you when most people are looking.
It's going to show you. It's going to show you a graph. Yeah, it's going to show you the when most people are on and when you're getting the highest engagement. For Instagram, I know a lot of people have switched over to a business profile. A lot of artists have. It's built in there too. You'll see it once you've used the business profile. I think for like a week, it starts telling you the best time to post. If you're not on that, there's third-party tools that I teach in my classes, like that can find this information. And then Twitter, you're going to have to use a third-party tool, something like everything has a funny name, something like a Follower Wonk or Twiriad. Those two things, they're both free. Twiriad's free up to if you have 1,000 followers, but Follower Wonk is completely free. And they'll analyze your followers. They're going to tell you the best time to post. They'll also tell you like where your followers are, which is really cool, because now I know, okay, I'm pretty split between LA and New York. I've got a lot of people in Chicago, Atlanta. All makes sense, right? But I have a huge following in the UK, and I had no idea. But this is important for when to post too, because those
they're 5 or 6 hours ahead. Yeah,
exactly. They were accounting for why like early morning posts were, if I occasionally got up, I work a lot in the early morning hours, and I was getting engagement, and it shocked me because I figured most New York actors weren't up, and LA people were, they were up if they were up all night. So what's important is you use these tools to find out the best time to post. Because if you can only tweet once or twice a day, tweet when your people are on and they're listening, especially if you're trying to get the word out about something important to you.
And you were saying that program was called Follow Wonk, WONK?
Yeah, it's just a third-party app. It's called Follower Wonk.
Oh, follower, WONK.
Yeah, Follower Wonk, and it's free. You just have to sign in, and then they'll analyze your account.
That is really cool. And I know we're running out of time. The last question wanted to ask was, is it okay to send out the same or repeat a blog or a message to, on Twitter, let's say, even if it's, a month apart or something like that? Or do you say never repeat yourself?
I say that most people aren't even going to see your post the first time. Repeat
Okay.
it, and you don't even have to say in case you missed it. I mean, I have like over 50 articles on my site, so I repeat things a lot. Of course, I have 50 articles, so even if I do one a day, how often are people even seeing them when I repeat them? You have to know that, like, not only do people have to be on at a certain time, but they have to be looking at your feed. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there actually, I take that back. There have been some changes with Twitter, which now they have like, in case you missed it. So now I don't suggest as much. In the past, I'd say, yeah, you could post it at 2 o'clock and then post it at 6 o'clock, the same thing on the same day. In the past, you'd get two totally different groups of people seeing it, because you had to be on at 2 and 6. But now they're showing you things that you missed since the last time you were on. But if you put something out a month ago, a blog, and you're going to put it out again, or 2 months ago, there's a good chance it's a totally different audience. I find a lot of times people read the same article and they love it again. So it's
That's interesting.
I even remember that they commented on it before, but it's like maybe they saw it in a new light. Maybe they skimmed it before. Maybe they didn't even read it. Sometimes people just reply and they say, thanks for the article. So as long as you're not doing it over and over and over
Sure.
again, spamming people, yeah, you can get away with it on Twitter, not so much Instagram, and not as much on Facebook. But Twitter, yeah, you can.
That's cool. Well, listen, before we wind up, I want to ask you if you would share some information about your 21-day Social Rockstar Challenge, which is an amazing program where you help people really navigate social media. So if you could just tell us a little bit about it and how they can get more information about it, that would be great.
Oh, definitely. So it is 21 days of social media training where I take you from rookie to rockstar. And I help you from day one, choosing your platforms. Day two, I teach you how to use them. So depending on what platforms you use, I got intro series from Snapchat to Facebook to Instagram to Twitter. There's nothing like this out for actors out there. I really show you step by step how to use these, even Insta stories. It's all there. And then we start with your branding. First impressions. We make over your bios. We do your header photos. We pick profile pictures. We clean up your account. We set social schedules. And then week 2 is all about posting. So you'll walk with like over 75 posting ideas from when you have a gig, when you don't have a gig. I teach you how to use search on Facebook and Twitter to find auditions and opportunities. I have a whole day on live tweeting since it's in contracts now. So you'll learn how to live tweet, whether you're a big actor on a show or whether you're just on one night. You can live tweet, you can join the conversation. And then week 3 is all about building relationships. So reconnecting with those people that you already know, maybe you lost touch with, how to get them to join your party on social media. Then I help you get on the radar of the people you want to know. And we talk about how to target projects. And then I bring it all together and show you how to run a system in 10 minutes a day or less for your social media. And there's some bonuses too that where I show you how to grow an audience and grow a following. So it's the most comprehensive system out there for actors to teach you how to really rock your social media. So I'm pretty excited about it, as you can tell.
Yeah, it's incredible. And how can people find out more about it?
Well, the next session is going to start real soon, and they can go to socialrockstarchallenge.com. And even if there's not a session right now, you can sign up to find out when the next one is.
That is cool. Heidi, I want to thank you so much. I know you are incredibly busy. You've been traveling a lot. And so to have you take an hour here and sit down and share this information, it's really, really great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. I hope everyone found it useful. And find me on Twitter. Find me on Twitter, everyone.
Cool. Well, thanks again. See ya.
Okay, bye.
Wow, well, that was really incredible. I learned a lot, and this is an essential tool for all actors and models. You need to know how to use social media properly. Next month, I'm going to have another really interesting workshop, and I'll share some information about that with you soon. I'm Aaron Marcus. This was great, and I can't wait to talk with you again soon. See ya.